Asha, with your deal, did you do most of the negotiation or did your husband?
I did. I
Oh,
did.
okay.
I did most of the
Okay.
negotiation.
Girl
And
power.
yay. He saw it and all of that, but I definitely did most of the negotiation. And I think that one thing that I came to realize is that you have to have the courage to step into what you're believing for, because you can say, I want this life, I want to reach this goal, and God can bring it and lay it right in your lap, but you still have to be brave enough to take a
Mm-hmm.
step and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, you're just standing there looking at the thing you believe in for. It's looking back at you, and nothing is happening unless you take a step forward.
Yeah. Did you ever, when you were going through the process, like how would you say you had a lot of anxiety?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of there was a lot of anxiousness. And it was interesting because I'd owned a property before. I thought, oh, I got this, right? I
Mm-hmm.
know what this is going to be. I know what this is going to look like. And what I realized is that all price points are not equal, right?
Facts.
So me saying, oh, I've done this before on a townhouse level, and then on this level, it's like, oh, this is something totally different. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, okay, all right. And there was more opposition, but I think that's also where team comes in. That's where mentorship comes in. That's where people can say, oh, girl, been there, done that. Okay, so this is normal. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with you. It's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
not that you're not qualified. It's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is just what they do at this
Yeah.
level. So let's keep pushing.
Mm. That's
Period.
good. By her saying that, it just made me think about in every area and everywhere that you go, mentorship is important.
Yes.
Because if you don't have that mentorship or have someone there to coach you along and be there for you to bounce things off while you're walking into new territory, you'll retreat back to what's familiar and then you're stunting your growth. And so like just in my experience, being an investor with the property in Detroit, I'm so excited to close on that property this month, to sell
Yay.
it, and it is gone. I am elated. And I would just definitely say through that process, there was lots of emotional intelligence that had to be developed in myself, where I thought I was emotionally intelligent. You kind of think you there until you experience something you never experienced. And then you realize you ain't really as you're not really as intelligent as you thought, or secure. And so I know that mentorship from you specifically was extremely important, and to be able to bounce what I'm thinking off of other investors or people who have been in this space was extremely helpful, because I knew pushing through this process and breaking through this process is going to set me up for greater and even more. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if I would retreat or say, man, I didn't like when this happened in my experience, or this happened, so I'm never going to invest again, right? It's not for you to retreat, but it's for you to
Uh-huh.
grow. So when you do it again, so when I get ready to get my next property, I've learned so much that it's going to get tighter and tighter and tighter every time. It's like taking a test in school. You miss a question, you're going to be determined, I'm not going to miss that question again. Let me figure out what I did
Yeah.
wrong, and I'm going to fix it. So when that question come again, I'm going to be on point. So
Exactly. That is
yeah,
so good, and so
yeah,
true. And I think when you think about real estate, you really have to think about the long game, Gretel. You have to
yeah.
think, okay, what is it that I really want? And what is it going to cost? Where do I want to go? What do I want to look like? What do I want to feel like? What do
Mm-hmm.
I want to experience? Because for the person that really taps into your dreams, when you really start tapping into your dream, you realize it's going to cost money. What's up, Rashad? He's so silly. He
I
sits on the
love
bank
Rashad.
begging.
I love Rashad. He always got something.
Always smart mouth, right?
Always.
But you, I really think you really got to think about the long game. Like, what do I want out of life? Where do I want to go? Who do I want to become? And real estate is not fast, but it's secure and it's sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been blessed to make millions in crypto and startups. I've always had my hands, seems like, on things that were very disruptive and cutting edge, to only land back on an asset class that has made people hundreds of millions of dollars. Literally, you guys know we're getting ready to take a trip to one of the top anti-aging spas in the world, somewhere up in New York. And JP Morgan built this castle, 40,000 square feet, I found out. 40,000 square foot castle for his daughter is a wedding gift in 1906. That castle today would be worth over $10 million if she still owned it. I think they ended up, selling it or whatever. But my point is that what asset can you buy back in 1906 and now 2024, over 100 years? And the value of it has gone up considerably. And you really cannot start talking about real wealth until you talk about equity. And the only way you get equity is in real estate. And so the hardest thing you can do for your children is when they graduate from college, they graduate from, or get married or graduate from whatever, or some of you might say high school, to get that asset and not just get it and stop, but keep getting it. Get the tenants, do the buy and flips, get the capital, do both. I've done 2 buy and flips in the last couple of months. Now I'm getting ready to buy my next apartment building. When I bought my first apartment building, Camille did a lot of the paperwork, and she can tell you it was not a joke. If I didn't have a mentor, then it probably would not have happened. If I didn't have a conviction, it would not have happened. If I didn't have, the gall to stand, because it was easy several times, probably not even several, many, to just
many. Yeah. And it was kind of like, even within that, this is like, I'm kind of pivoting, but on the same track of always posturing yourself to serve your mentors. Because when you posture yourself to serve and help however you can, you end up in rooms that traditionally you may not have been invited to, right? And then now when you're in those rooms that you may not have been invited to, you get the opportunity to ear hustle and learn stuff which you probably wouldn't have been able to learn right away. And so, like, even when I finally got a buyer for my property and the title company was like, we need this. And I was like, boom, boom, boom. It felt so good to have already known and already been equipped and prepared because of being around. And, a lot of times people like to go to YouTube University and say, I can just look it up myself and learn. People want to make money, but they don't want to spend money to make money, right? It's like the law of sowing and reaping. Like, you sow so you can grow. So people like, I want to become a millionaire, but I'm not spending $5 on nothing. You see what I'm saying? So do you really want to be a millionaire? Because it takes the money. And then people will ask the question of why do I have to pay them this? You're paying for the time that they spent to become the expert to help expedite your process. Do you see what I'm saying? And so when you shift your mindset, because as you continue to learn and you become an expert in your field of specialty, there are going to be people that are going to want to know what you have. And because you've taken the time to invest in yourself, you should be able to charge for that time and that education and that mentorship that you paid for yourself. And so we have to shift our mindset from free 99. Like, no, I am willing to invest and put this money here because they have the results that I desire. I want to switch bank accounts with her. So let me put a seed in her pocket so that I can get the bank account that she has, right? And so as we adapt that mindset, we'll find ourselves growing. And when you pay your money or give your money, don't just sit back and expect it to just drop in your lap. It's still work that is required. And I can honestly say when Dr. Jewel first started helping me with my property, I was like, you just call them. I don't want to, because I was getting so annoyed. But she's like, no, this is your property. I'm here to coach you through it. So let's talk about it. let's get on this 3-way. And eventually it wasn't 3 ways. It was just like, did you talk to such and such? So I had to be willing to grow and go to uncomfortable spaces and have those hard conversations, because sometimes if you're a person that doesn't like conflict, you know, this space may not be for you, because there's going to be conflict when that contractor ain't did what they said they're going to do. When you pull up and they supposed to be there and they ain't where they, like,